Today, we are diving into a showdown that is, frankly, shaking the very foundations of the global economy. It's a conflict that pits the White House directly against the world's most powerful financial institution. Yeah, we're talking about the president versus the central bank. So let's just start with a prediction that really sets the stage. It's from independent economist Chris Richardson, and it perfectly captures just how serious this is. He said, simply, this will end in tears. So you have to ask, what could possibly be happening to provoke a warning like that? Well, it all kicks off with a piece of news that sent absolute shockwaves through the financial markets. We're talking about a banker under investigation. But, this isn't just any banker we're talking about. That's right. The head of the U.S. Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, is now the subject of a criminal investigation by the Department of Justice. I mean, this is an absolutely extraordinary development. We're talking about targeting the person whose job it is to steer the entire world's largest economy. So what's the official reason? Well, the Justice Department has served the Fed with grand jury subpoenas. And on paper, it's all about Powell's testimony to Congress, specifically about a massive $2.5 billion renovation project for the Fed's buildings. But Jerome Powell himself? He's not buying it for a second. In this pretty stunning video statement, he was incredibly blunt. He just said, those are pretexts. He's arguing that this investigation is really a direct result of the Fed setting interest rates based on economic data, not on what the president wants politically. And while this whole storm is raging, President Trump has already made his next move. He's nominated a successor to lead the Fed. So let's take a quick look at this new nominee. So who exactly is Kevin Warsh? Well, he's definitely no stranger to the Fed. He was a governor back during the 2008 financial crisis. He's a Wall Street veteran. He's a fellow with the Hoover Institution. And he's also on the board of UPS. He was even a finalist for this very same job back in 2017. Now, the president's praise for Warsh was, well, it was over the top. He called him central casting and predicted he'd be one of the great Fed chairmen. That phrase central casting, it's really telling. It suggests someone who's been picked to play a very specific role. Okay, but this is where the story gets really interesting, because Kevin Warsh's history presents what you can only call the Warsh paradox. See, on the one hand, you've got Warsh's long-standing reputation as a monetary hawk, and a hawk is someone who's always worried about inflation and generally wants higher interest rates to keep prices down. He hated stimulus programs, and he even resigned from the Fed in 2011 because he thought their policies were way too loose. But then on the other hand, you have the Kevin Warsh of today. He's pushing for lower rates, calls himself an ally to the White House, and seems to be perfectly in line with the president's goals. It's just a really remarkable shift. And that's because this whole clash is about something so much bigger than just a few personalities. This is a fundamental fight. It is a battle for independence. So what do we even mean by central bank independence? Well, it's pretty much the cornerstone of modern economics. The whole idea is that big decisions, like setting interest rates, have to be shielded from politics. They should be driven by cold, hard data on things like inflation and jobs, not by which way the political winds are blowing or if an election is coming up. And you can see exactly how that principle is being tested right now. The pressure from the president has just been escalating and escalating. It started with public criticism, demanding rate cuts. Then it moved on to personal attacks, with the president calling Chairman Powell a moron. And now it's reached this final stage, using a legal mechanism, the criminal probe, to exert the absolute maximum pressure. And make no mistake, this political fight is not happening in a vacuum. It is sending powerful, and I mean powerful, shockwaves through the global financial system. So how did the markets react to all this uncertainty? Well, investors basically ran for cover. The price of gold, which is the ultimate safe haven asset, it surged to a record high of over $4,500 an ounce. And that right there is a huge flashing signal of fear. And you could feel that reaction everywhere. The value of the US dollar, it fell. Stock futures, they slid down. And at the exact same time, investors poured their money into US Treasury bonds, which are seen as one of the safest bets in the world. And that caused their futures to rally. It is a classic flight to safety, away from risk and away from uncertainty. This all has really complex consequences for the rest of the world. Let's just take a country like India. In the short term, weirdly, all this chaos could actually be a good thing. Lower US interest rates could push money into India as investors look for higher returns. But the long-term risk, it's severe. If the Fed's credibility gets damaged, all that money could come rushing back out, and this global uncertainty could make it way more expensive for Indian companies to borrow money. So what we're really watching here is more than just some political fight. What's happening is that an entire system is on trial. Let's go back to that economist we started with, Chris Richardson. His analysis really just cuts right to the heart of it. He says the world is built on trust, and this is a direct attack on the trust that the world can have in the US and its institutions. It all comes down to the credibility of the entire US financial system. And the stakes here, well, they could not be higher. If the Fed loses its credibility, that could threaten the US dollar's status as the world's reserve currency, the main currency everyone uses for trade. That could lead to totally unpredictable policy, higher interest rates for everybody in the long run, and potentially global financial chaos. Which brings us to our final, really critical question. The entire global financial system has been built on this foundation of trust. Trust in the independence and the stability of America's most important institutions. So we'll just leave you with this to think about. When that trust is broken, what comes next?